Alright, what is going on guys? It's Tazz here, and welcome back to the channel. Now today what we've got for you guys is another Arrow video. Spoiler warning if you guys have not seen the finale for Season 5 of Arrow, but if you have, let's continue. Even going into this finale, we were promised that one character, or even multiple characters, were going to die in this episode. We knew somebody was going to die, we just didn't know when or how. And now that we have sort of this mysterious ending with sort of every character's fate up in the air other than Oliver and his son, right now what I just want to do is speculate on who I think actually survived the explosion of Lian Yu in the finale of Arrow Season 5. Now, our first possible death came when Malcolm Merlin pushed Thea out of the way when she had stepped on that landmine going through the forests of Lian Yu, and basically he just took her place in possibly dying on the landmine. And now, we've seen these landmines before in the show. There are definitely ways for people to escape these landmines. Oliver has done it plenty of times. I'm pretty sure other characters have also escaped these landmines, and especially a character who their League of Assassin name is the Magician. I really find it very hard to believe that Malcolm actually died from this. Now, I know that the actor has come out and said he won't be a part of the Arrowverse next season. Kind of sad about that. He was a really good character. He's really good on Arrow. He's been great on Arrow since Season 1. He was great on Legends of Tomorrow as well in Season 2, and it's just kind of sad to see him go. But just because at the moment there are no plans of bringing him back in the upcoming seasons of the shows doesn't mean he's gone for good. But we do know that that landmine did end up exploding, and there was somebody else around that landmine at the time as well, and that was Captain Boomerang. Now, I think that there's definitely a possibility that Captain Boomerang did die from this, but I would definitely like to see him maybe pop up on Flash next season. I just think that that would be pretty cool, given that he is a Flash villain, and for the most part, he's just been sort of an Arrow villain in the Arrowverse so far, so I think that that would be pretty cool as if he ended up surviving that explosion as well, and then gets off the island somehow to go wreak havoc in Central City and be sort of a nuisance for the Flash in Season 4. But the big moment of this episode was obviously at the end of the episode when Adrian Chase actually killed himself. He put the gun to his head and pulled the trigger, activating the dead man switch and just absolutely destroying Lian Yu, activating all the C4 on the island, blowing it up. So we saw it, Oliver saw it, Adrian Chase is dead. He pulled the trigger, he shot himself in the head. There's no getting up from that, so unfortunately, Prometheus is no more. There is definitely a possibility of him coming back in maybe a flashback if they end up doing flashbacks to parts of Season 5 that we have not seen, or parts of maybe Adrian Chase's backstory that we have not seen if it sort of pertains to a future season, but I wouldn't get your hopes up for a return of Prometheus anytime soon. And with all of the C4 going off on Lian Yu, there is definitely a possibility that every single member of Team Arrow died. Now, I mean, obviously they're not going to do that. They're not going to kill off all of Team Arrow and make Oliver start over again in Season 6. That would just be kind of ridiculous. I mean, I wouldn't completely put it past them, but I think that there's probably maybe like a 1% chance that everybody actually died. So let's go through who I think actually survived. Now, there are definitely quite a few people that we can sort of rule out immediately as to who did not die for many different reasons. So Dinah, Renee, as well as the Earth 2 Laurel or Black Siren, they are all completely safe just because they have already been confirmed as season regulars for Season 6, so obviously they wouldn't kill them off. I mean, maybe they'd kill them off and they'd just be like flashbacks or ghosts for the entire season, but I highly doubt that would happen. Next person that is safe is Thea. Now, the showrunners have already come out and said that they will not kill Thea off ever. For many different reasons, so they've said that they'll never kill her off, as well as Malcolm potentially sacrificed his own life for hers, so that would make that pretty meaningless if she ended up dying in the C4 explosion of Lian Yu. And now the final two people that we can immediately rule out are Felicity and Diggle. Now, they've been around since Season 1. They are part of what Felicity likes to call Original Team Arrow, and I'm sure a lot of people like to call them Original Team Arrow. I call them Original Team Arrow sometimes as well, but you know, they're part of the original Season 1 Team Arrow, so I feel like that would just be silly to kill them off. They're sort of staples of the show, and I feel like there'd be so much fan backlash if they actually ended up killing them off, so I think it's safe to say that they have also survived Lian Yu. And with the immediate safe people out of the way, let's move on to talking about the people or the characters' fates that are definitely up in the air quite a bit. First off, let's talk about Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke. Now, I think that Deathstroke is pretty much safe. I mean, there's definitely a possibility that maybe he sacrificed himself to save everybody that was on Lian Yu as sort of part of a redemption arc, but I don't think that that would happen. I feel like there's no way that the actor himself would have come back and played Deathstroke just for them to kill him off in the first episode that he's back. I feel like that would just sort of do a huge disservice to the character and something that the actor would most likely never do. As well as in the beginning of the episode, they did set up sort of an arc or maybe even a redemption arc for Slade Wilson going forward in Arrow, or even if he actually gets this solo series that everybody has been campaigning for, that maybe they will explore this in there. So I just don't think that they would ever kill off Slade Wilson on Arrow. They'd never kill off Deathstroke from this Arrowverse. Next up, let's talk about Quentin Lance. So I think that he is also safe because it seems like through this episode and through actually the last couple of episodes of Arrow for Season 5, it seemed like they were definitely setting up something between him and Earth 2 Laurel, sort of having a redemption arc for Earth 2 Laurel and almost being not really a complete replacement, but sort of just it seems like something bad happened to Laurel on Earth 2, and obviously Lance had lost our Earth 1 version of Laurel. So, I mean, I think that they're definitely setting up kind of a redemption arc for Black Siren sort of through Lance in that way. So I don't think that they would ever kill off Lance sort of in this way of him just getting blown up on Lian Yu. I mean, I feel like there's definitely many ways that they could kill him off the show, but I don't think this is one of them. Then we have the Al Ghul sisters, Nyssa and Talia. I think Nyssa is just 100% safe. She's been around for a while as well, so I don't think that they'd kill her off in this way. Obviously, seeing that she had just sort of just popped up again, and I don't think they'd kill her off this easily, so I feel like Nyssa is safe, as well as Talia, just sort of so that she can come back as well, and they can sort of have more sort of League of Assassin fights or whatever they want to do. I feel like that would be pretty cool to have them both fight again, and I just don't think that either of them would die on Lian Yu this way, considering they are League of Assassin members and the daughters of Ra's al Ghul, so I don't think they'd kill them off either. Next up, we have Curtis. He's been around since Season 4, and he's just become Mr. Terrific this season. He's invented the T-Spheres. He's become more comic booky by the episode, so I don't think they'd kill him off either. He's definitely quickly becoming one of my favorite newer characters that hasn't been around since Season 1, so I think that he is definitely safe on the show. He's definitely needed on Team Arrow, and I don't think that there's any reason for them to kill Curtis off the show either. Alright, so we're almost done here. Second to last character we have is Artemis. Now, we saw her get locked up in that cage in sort of the middle of the island towards the beginning of this episode, and we never heard from her again. So I don't think that she died from this. I mean, we just sort of just locked her in a cage and said forget about it. I'm pretty sure she got out. I'm sure somebody let her out, maybe Talia or maybe Black Siren let her out and brought her off the island with them. Now, she was definitely a character that I was not a big fan of this season, and I feel like there were definitely many ways that they could have improved on the character, so hopefully they do improve her character next season and make her more interesting if they want to keep her as sort of a smaller side villain on the show. But I do think that she ended up surviving the explosion of Lian Yu as well. Finally, we have the mother of Oliver's son, Samantha, whatever her last name is. I don't even remember. But anyway, so I think that there's definitely a possibility that she died. I think if anybody dies, I think it's her. I'm gonna call it right now. I think that Samantha has died on the island. I think that she's gonna die, and this is sort of gonna bring Oliver to this sort of they've said sort of the theme of next season is going to be family, so I think Oliver is going to have to take on the responsibility of raising his son after the death of his son's mother. I feel like that would just sort of work very well in the show. She hasn't really been a very big part. I don't think anybody really cares about that character very much, so I don't think that it would be a huge impact for the audience, but I feel like it would be a huge impact for everybody on the show, given that it would definitely mix up a lot of things that have that have been going on in the show, Oliver will have to now balance being the Green Arrow, the mayor, as well as raising his son. So I feel like Samantha dying would definitely be the most logical sort of outcome for the explosion of Lian Yu. Now, for how the survivors of Lian Yu actually survived, I feel like Slade Wilson took all of our Team Arrow members to the bunker, the Argus bunker that he was in, and that's obviously very protective. That will probably protect them from all of the C4 on the island. I think that that keeps everybody safe. I mean, there's definitely a possibility somebody called up Barry and had him like race everybody across the water and just, you know, take them to safety, but I feel like going to the Argus bunker is the most likely option. And for Prometheus's team of bad guys, I guess you could say, I feel like there's obviously some sort of contingency in place so that they would be able to get off the island in the event that Adrian Chase actually died surviving the explosions. But other than that, guys, I think it's very cool that they did the finale this way so that we have to speculate on who actually ended up dying. So I want to know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. Who do you think died? Who do you think survived? Let me know down in the comments below. But until next time, guys, it's been Tazz, and I will see you guys in the next video.